February 7th, 2026. A date that will forever mark the moment when whispers became roars, when speculation transformed into consequence, and when the British monarchy faced a crisis unlike any in its thousand-year history. Picture this. Behind the gilded gates of Kensington Palace, in a room where no cameras are allowed and no recordings are kept, Prince William stands before a projected image. It's not a painting, not a portrait, but a wire transfer receipt. $500,000. The origin? A Delaware shell corporation with ties leading directly back to Meghan Markle. The destination? A fertility clinic in northern Mexico. The date? May 1st, 2019, just 5 days before the world celebrated the birth of Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. For most of us, that announcement was pure joy, a modern fairy tale, a biracial American actress bringing fresh energy into the ancient institution. We saw the photographs, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip smiling warmly, cradling the newest addition to the Windsor family. It was hope, it was progress, it was the future. But what if that photograph, that moment we all celebrated, was something else entirely? This isn't about tabloid gossip anymore. This is about documents, real ones, verified ones. Documents that suggest Meghan Markle may have deliberately misled not just the public, but the Crown itself about the biological origins of both Archie and Lilibet. And on February 7th, 2026, Prince William confirmed what had been whispered in secure corridors for years. A multi-year internal investigation had been underway, an investigation that has now reached its conclusion. The evidence? A digital contract from Centro de Maternidad Fontana, a private medical facility in northern Mexico. The document lists Meghan Markle, not under an alias, not through a proxy, but by her full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle, as the recipient of a comprehensive egg donation cycle, third-party surrogacy coordination, and something even more troubling, a Level 1 anonymity protocol, complete identity confidentiality. The signature on that contract? Authenticated through blockchain timestamping, a technology that makes forgery nearly impossible. It's her name, her signature, no intermediaries. No assistants, just her. For the royal family, this wasn't a personal matter anymore. This was institutional betrayal on a scale they had never confronted. Let's go back to that photograph. The one with Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and baby Archie. It became iconic almost instantly. It appeared in textbooks across the Commonwealth. It was printed on commemorative materials. It symbolized a modern monarchy embracing change. But in January 2026, that photograph was quietly handed over to MR5's digital forensics unit. Not because of rumors, not because of gossip, but because inconsistencies had been flagged by palace security. What they found was staggering. The lighting on Meghan and the child didn't match the natural shadows cast on the Queen and Prince Philip. The Queen's eyeline didn't align with where the baby should have been. Pixel noise analysis revealed something even stranger. Studio-grade diffused lighting on Meghan's portion of the image, while the rest of the photo bore the unmistakable characteristics of Windsor Castle's east-facing window light. The analyst's report was blunt. This isn't merely a retouched image. This is a layered digital fabrication. The room went silent. The implications were suffocating. The Crown, the institution itself, had been used to validate what now appeared to be a staged moment. And if this was fabricated, what else was? Prince William didn't rush. He didn't lash out. Instead, he did what royals do best when the stakes are existential. He convened a task force. Internally, they called these gatherings meetings in the Black Room. No press, no Wi-Fi, no archival recordings, just facts. Cold, verifiable facts. And the facts were damning. When you compare Archie's birth to those of Princess Catherine's children, the differences are impossible to ignore. Catherine's deliveries followed centuries of protocol. Royal obstetricians signed official documents. Formal bulletins were posted at Buckingham Palace. Hospital footage was shared with the public. For Archie, none of that. No signature from a royal physician, no formal bulletin, no hospital footage. Just a carefully managed press release and that now questionable photograph. Then there's the birth certificate. 1 month after Archie's birth, something unusual happened. Meghan's full name, Rachel Meghan Markle, was quietly replaced with Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Legal experts in surrogacy law immediately recognized the pattern. Such changes are frequently made to obscure the identity of an egg donor or gestational carrier. Nothing like this had ever been done for the children of Diana or Catherine. The deviation wasn't accidental, it was calculated. For William, this was no longer about family drama or hurt feelings. This was about the line of succession. the very mechanism that determines who leads the nation. And if that line had been compromised through deception, then his duty was clear. Emotion cannot override principle, he told his closest advisors. We owe the British people the truth. And so began the quiet, methodical dismantling of the Sussex Children's Place within the royal framework. On February 1st, 2026, William called his father, King Charles. The conversation lasted exactly 14 minutes. Charles understood immediately what was at stake. His response was measured but heavy with meaning. Do what you must, but know that once you pull this thread, there is no stitching it back. That thread had been pulled, and it was unraveling fast. If Archie's birth raised uncomfortable questions, Lilibet's existence detonated them entirely. Born on June 4th, 2021, at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital, or so the claim went, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor was introduced to the world not through traditional channels, but via a carefully crafted press release. No hospital steps, no photographs with medical staff, no records shared with the palace, no confirmation from any British royal physician, and most troubling of all, no christening. In over 1,000 years of British monarchy, no child has ever been recognized as royal without an Anglican baptism. It's not a suggestion, it's a requirement. Baptisms are attended by senior royals, officiated by bishops or archbishops, and meticulously documented. The claim was that Lilibet was baptized privately at their home in California. No photographs were released, no church was named. When journalists reached out to the Church of England in 2023 for verification, they were met with silence. That silence became a flashing warning sign. But it was what happened on Lilibet's 4th birthday, June 4th, 2025, that turned suspicion into certainty. In what appeared to be an attempt to reclaim public affection, a polished video was released showing Lilibet playing in their Montecito garden. The little girl laughed among blooming purple jacaranda trees, surrounded by balloons and lavender petals. The caption read, "Celebrating our California princess." It should have been heartwarming. Instead, it triggered a wave of scrutiny. Botanists and local gardeners were the first to notice. Jacarandas in Santa Barbara bloom between April and mid-May. By June 4th, the blossoms have typically fallen, yet in the video, the trees were in full, vibrant bloom. Then digital analysts stepped in. They traced solar angles, shadow directions, atmospheric refraction. The sun in the video hit from a northeastern angle, consistent with late spring. But on June 4th, 2025, Santa Barbara weather records showed heavy, overcast skies. The lighting in the video didn't match the date. It didn't match the weather. The footage had been filmed weeks earlier or repurposed from a different occasion entirely. It was staged. By this point, Prince William had shifted into a new phase of his strategy. He called it absolute non-recognition. No public rebuttals, no official statements, no corrections, just silence. Inside the palace, they called it the ice wall. When legal requests were submitted in late 2025 to recognize Lilibet as a princess, to confirm her place in the line of succession, to approve an official portrait, the palace response was always the same. Nothing. Not a rejection, not a delay, just erasure. In an institution built on acknowledgement, to be unseen is to cease to exist. In early 2026, as pressure mounted, a move was made. A televised interview with a major American journalist, set in a flower-laden garden, surrounded by symbols of purity and motherhood. Tears, accusations of racism, claims that a daughter was being erased because of fear over the color of her skin. But even some past defenders noticed something crucial. Still no medical documentation, no unedited birth certificate, no photographic evidence of pregnancy or delivery, no witnesses, no names of doctors, just words, words against data, words against weather records, words against centuries of royal tradition. On February 3, 2026, Prince William submitted a classified report to King Charles and the Privy Council. Inside that report, metadata analysis of the Jacaranda video. Testimonies from Santa Barbara hospital staff noting sealed delivery rooms and unidentified doctors. Financial records traced back to the same Mexican clinic from 2019. The conclusion was unavoidable. Without confirmation of birth, baptism, and bloodline, recognition could not be granted. This wasn't a maternal scandal. This was a constitutional void. The aftermath wasn't explosive, it was glacial. And that was exactly the intention. No interviews, no leaks, no denials, only silence. Because silence, as it turned out, was the sharpest tool the monarchy possessed. Royal website editors were instructed to archive, not delete, any references to Archie and Lilibet. Invitations to upcoming ceremonial events quietly omitted their names. Legal memos confirmed that without verified lineage or baptism, neither child could appear in state functions. Prince William was clear with his advisors. Engagement is acknowledgement, and acknowledgement is leverage. A February 9th interview was meant to reclaim the narrative. Set against a blooming garden, flanked by white roses and soft lighting, the appearance was tearful, maternal, composed. But the response was far colder than anticipated. Within 2 hours, a hashtag overtook every major platform, "No More Lies." Public sentiment had shifted, not toward accusations of racism, but toward demands for accountability. A growing chorus began asking the same pointed questions. Where is the full, unedited birth certificate? Why were there no royal medical staff present? Why no christening photos, no clergy named, no confirmation from the Church of England? A prominent political columnist captured the mood perfectly. The monarchy operates on verification, not vibes. What followed was a coordinated exodus. Streaming platforms quietly canceled planned projects. Fashion houses removed promotional material. Brand collaborations were shelved indefinitely. The message was unmistakable. Even in Hollywood, the tide had turned. And then came the most haunting silence of all, Prince Harry. He hadn't appeared in public since January. Reports surfaced that he had stopped living full-time in Montecito. Royal security insiders confirmed he had made 2 quiet visits to London in recent weeks, both without his wife, both unannounced. One trip included a private meeting with Princess Anne at a secured location near Sandringham. Sources described the meeting as emotional and tense. Another visit was to an undisclosed chapel where Harry was seen kneeling alone for over an hour. It was during that period that he reportedly received the final documents compiled by William's intelligence team. All of it. What he said afterward remains unknown, but no rebuttal ever came. On February 6, 2026, the day before the Privy Council was scheduled to vote, a final memo circulated within royal legal chambers. Its conclusion was devastatingly simple. Without medical verification, ecclesiastical confirmation, or crown consent, the children cannot be legally recognized as heirs. The decision is not moral, it is constitutional. William signed the recommendation with a single phrase beneath his initials: "Let the silence stand." On the morning of February 7, 2026, a single sealed envelope was delivered to the Lord Chamberlain at Buckingham Palace. Inside were 3 documents. First, a certified, notarized copy of the surrogacy contract from the Mexican clinic, bearing the digital signature, dated May 1, 2019. Second, a forensic analysis report detailing the manipulated Windsor family photograph, with technical notes on light source inconsistency and studio layer overlays. Third, a formal recommendation, handwritten and signed by Prince William, advising full institutional severance of royal recognition for both Archie and Lilibet Mountbatten Windsor. The moment had arrived. At precisely 11 o'clock in the morning, the Privy Council convened behind locked oak doors at St. James's Palace. The meeting was not televised. No transcripts will ever be publicly released. But insider accounts confirm it was decisive, sober, and without dissent. William began by stating, "This is not an act of vengeance, it is a reaffirmation of the Crown's foundational principles: bloodline, transparency, and duty." At 12:32 p.m., a formal resolution was passed. In accordance with the Sovereign Succession Code, we affirm that Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor are no longer recognized as lawful descendants in the royal line. Their titles, ceremonial rights, and institutional privileges are hereby dissolved in perpetuity. The decision was unanimous, no abstentions, no delays. That same afternoon, without issuing a single statement, King Charles III appeared on the front balcony of Buckingham Palace. He was flanked by Prince William, Princess Catherine, and their 3 children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. There were no words, just smiles, waves, a visible line of succession, anchored in tradition, present in flesh, unshakable in message. It was the clearest signal the monarchy could give. The future was here, and it did not include the Sussexes. The Privy Council's resolution was not announced to the public, but within 24 hours the entire world knew. Leaked to a major London publication and quickly confirmed by international outlets, the headline spread like wildfire. Royal line cut, Archie and Lilibet removed from succession. By dawn, the palace gates were surrounded, not by protesters, but by silent onlookers. Journalists called it the quietest constitutional earthquake in modern history. The children in question, Archie and Lilibet, remain legally free American citizens, private individuals. But in Britain, where the crown still matters, they are now names without titles, stories without state recognition. This wasn't exile, said a legal scholar from Oxford. This was disqualification, and disqualification, once formalized, is irreversible. The end did not come with a bang, it arrived in protocol. King Charles intends to introduce a new legislative instrument, the Succession Integrity Act. Its core tenets are clear: verified lineage, mandatory Anglican baptism, state-approved birth facilities, and zero tolerance for misrepresentation. The legislation isn't just aimed at resolving this controversy, it's aimed at preventing any future repetition. At its heart is a warning: the crown cannot be gained by emotion, optics, or narrative manipulation. That same day, a letter arrived at Clarence House. Handwritten in blue ink, it was from Prince Harry. Its contents were described as honest, anguished, and unresolvable. Harry did not refute the findings, he did not demand reinstatement, but he asked one thing: please do not erase their names from the family tree. But the Privy Council had already ruled they would not be invited to state functions, they would not appear in Commonwealth registers, they would not be seated in Westminster Abbey, they would be private children of a former royal, nothing more. At sunset on February 10th, the Union flag flew high over Buckingham Palace as usual. But one minor change was noted by those familiar with royal symbolism. For the first time since 2019, the royal family's official communications displayed a subtle edit, a return to the pre-Sussex coat of arms. It was quiet. It was permanent. It was done. "This is not punishment," a palace insider said. "This is preservation. The story will be told for decades. It is a story of ambition and emotion, of trust extended and then withdrawn, of a monarchy tested and reaffirmed, and of two children whose names echoed through royal halls but now belong to another world entirely. We are not casting out a brother," William told the council. "We are protecting the throne." In the end, the monarchy did not rage, it did not shout, it did not collapse. It simply endured.